This time call the Weldon City School Board of Education meeting to order. The time is 6:54. We'll have a reading of the mission statement by Vice Chair, Ms. Hale.
The mission of the Weldon City School District is to create and maintain a highly effective educational system in which every student receives the highest quality education. School employees and parents work together to prepare students to become caring, competent, and responsible citizens who value education as a lifelong process.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hale. Next, we're gonna look at your agenda. And are there any revisions? Plan one.
Chairman Williams, I would like to add on, custodian at the Weldon Elementary Global Academy.
Under discussion or
Yes.
other.
Yes.
And I would like to recommend a change. We had 8A, Michael Baptist of WIA. He's gonna be virtual, but we want to move him up to 3A. But it will not be near the bottom, but they'll be near the top. And of course, those that are with WIA, you're quite welcome to stay. But we just want to go so Mr. Baptist won't have to be online waiting. Any other changes?
Custodian.
Yeah,
Custodian is going to be 8L.
so.
E.
Yeah.
Excuse me, E.
So is E district retreat and conferences? Because it says it's ABCDI.
No,
It skips
There
over.
was a type.
Right, so is that gonna be E?
A,
district
B, C,
retreat?
D,
It
E.
should be.
That'll be D.
That should be.
That'll be D.
Okay, because we moved Mr. Backus up, okay. Okay.
Any other change? Okay, under the consent agenda, 7A, that has already been completed, so they can be removed. And NCSBA would be A, and wireless access would be B.
Question,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
7A has been completed. I had some questions about it. We didn't vote on it and when
Yes, ma'am. That was the last meeting that had already been done.
the table that I talked about. Yeah, because there was a lot of highlights in it. We didn't vote on the MOU.
I was informed before last board meeting that it was already
That was done.
signed and turned in.
Well, we didn't vote on it. It's not in the minutes that we voted on, but we didn't. Because I have a list of questions regarding it after I've been able to read.
Okay, we'll leave A up there then.
Still remain the same.
Okay, any other changes? A motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the necessary changes and amendments.
Second,
And then motion by Ms. Hale and second by Ms. Robinson that the agenda be accepted with the recommended changes. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Robin Sykes? Robin
Aye,
Sykes? Okay.
aye.
Motion passes. For the minutes of the meeting. Any questions about the meeting minutes?
no minutes.
No minutes?
No.
Okay, so we'll bypass that. Now we'll go to Mr. Backus. Mr. Backus. Mr. Backus.
Yes,
All right, how you doing? We are ready for you, sir.
fine, and thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Backus. I'm a 1966 graduate of Ralph J. Bunch and a member of the Bunch Project Group and the Weldon in Action Community Group. I come before you today to discuss the former site of the Ralph J. Bunch High School, which was a bedrock and pillar of our community for all who attended. Our teachers and staff that taught us, but they also helped raise us. They helped us establish our identity and our culture. Let's not forget the good old flagpole on May Day. We remember our teachers, Ms. Cook, Ms. Knox, Mr. Miller, Doc Brown. When we got promoted to the next grade, we simply walked across the hall to the next classroom. Our teachers lived in our streets. They went to our churches. They had us over to their house for dinner. And on Monday, they taught us. And then when we acted up, they would spank us. And the only good thing about the spanking was you got to go see Miss Rosie Blossom. Miss Rosie Blossom had that apron that smelled like snuff that would always give you a mama bear hug and made everything all right. Miss Blossom was the school nurse, the janitor, the cook. When she hugged you, the world was okay. And she always got coal for the 7th grade classroom. And for you who remember, that's the standalone 7th grade classroom that they used coal to heat. And yes, we all inhaled coal fumes our entire 7th grade, and nobody ever went to Dr. Schaffner or Dr. Cochran's office. What we didn't know was that we were standing on sacred ground, filled with such a rich history spanning from 1905 to 1970. On this site was the Halifax Training School, the 1923 Rosenwald School, which was one of 46 Rosenwald schools in Halifax County, and Ralph J. Bunch High School. One can only imagine with the proximity of the school to the Underground Railroad and the canal that our ancestors once walked these grounds. Somehow, that history was lost or never told. Now we have an opportunity to tell our history again. By honoring our past and inspiring a future of learning, the Ralph J. Bunch Project Team and the Weldon in Action Group would like to place a memorial and a historic marker on those sacred grounds, honoring and depicting what once stood there. Also, this site would offer an historical view that one can go and read about the importance it had in Weldon's history. It will also offer an educational experience for all to take field trips to the site for hands-on experience. And lastly, the site will offer an economic boost as tourists will come and stay in our hotels and visit our shops and eateries. And the visitors will recognize that the importance that the site has in North Carolina history. Therefore, we, the Ralph J. Bunch Project Group and the Weldon in Action Group would like the board to grant us permission to build a memorial on that property and support our efforts to obtain grants and raise funds with others in the community once approval is given for the Ralph J. Bunch Park project. You can review the one pages that provided additional information there for you. I'd like to thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I'd like to thank the board of both Weldon in Action and athletes and Weldon in Action Coalition Group and the Ralph J. Bunch Group for their vision and their project and research. And go Chargers. Thank you.
Okay, board members, it didn't get in your package, but I'll send you what he said. Not everything he said, but the basis of what he said and what his presentation was. At this time, I would like to recognize those individuals here with WIA, Weldon in Action. If y'all would please stand. And Dr. Elliott. Okay, I want to thank y'all so much for coming. At this time, we want to take a census, or will we need a motion, Attorney Weber, for them to move forward?
It depends on the scope of the proposed project. It sounds like board members have not received the details of what this
Right.
might be.
Okay, but this would be just that they could get started, not, but they could put their plans together and then come back to us.
But in support of the project.
In support of the project.
Yeah. you could have-
Ms. Roberts.
Mr. Chair, I move that we support this project with Weldon in Action and pay homage to our ancestors who walked those sacred grounds.
Second.
It's been motioned by Ms. Robinson, second by Ms. Hale, that the WIA group and will be given permission to go ahead with our project and then can report back to the school board at a later time. Are there any discussions? All those in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Reverend Sykes,
Aye.
motion passed. Mr. Baptist?
Yes.
And those of you that are here in the audience, move forward. And we look for y'all to come up with some great ideas and bring them back to us and that we can support. And I'm really and truly glad to see that being done on First Street. First Street as well, on the left
Yes.
side of the track.
Yes.
So we look forward to your recommendation in the future, and thank all those that came here. We thank you so much for that.
And thank you, sir, for the opportunity, and we will keep you informed.
Yes, sir. Go forward.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, we'll move into reports. Superintendent's report.
Board Chair Williams, Vice Chair Ms. Hale, community members, other board members, staff. I would like to remind everyone that summer learning will start next week. The academic session will start from 7:30 to 2, and the enrichment session will start from 2 to 5. And we are encouraging all students currently in pre-K to 12th grade to attend. So we're looking forward to a great summer learning for all of our students. Thank you.
Got a question. It's going back to the minutes. Do you know when we will receive those? Next board meeting? Can that be emailed to us prior to next board meeting?
Okay, my report, just like to say happy birthday to everyone, happy anniversary. Hope you had a nice vacation thus far for the summer. For those of you that have children in school and still in testing, encourage them to do the best they can. Continue to read during the summer and do a lot of fun things, but keep on the academic side as well. Don't want them to lose what they have gained. And we're just looking forward to a great summer and a great school year next year. At this time, we have Mr. Gregory Edwards for the financial report.
Good evening, board chair, vice chair, board members.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What we will be presenting tonight is a request for approval for the 23-24 interim budget resolution. This interim budget is a continuation of the current year budget to date. And will be until the detailed budget has been completed and submitted for approval. This interim budget will allow the district to continue process invoices and payroll and the needs to be approved before June 30. Also, an all PCR report as of May 31st was provided to you for your information only. And monthly financial statements will be read at this time. We're starting with the current expense fund, Fund 2. Our beginning balance for the month of May was $2,444,397.98, with revenues for the month being $79,451.03, and a year-to-date revenue balance of $2,123,829.01 year-to-date for the month of May. Expenditures for the beginning of the month were $2,500,762.17, with a month of May expenditure of $557,113.24, with a year-to-date total of $3,057,875.41. A net result of a negative $934,026.40, and an unobligated fund balance of $420,305.11. Moving on to capital outlay, which is Fund 4. The beginning balance for May was $546,593.79. Revenue for the month was $12,617.49, and a year-to-date revenue of $559,211.28. Expenditures at the beginning of the month of May were $221,112.66, and in the month of May, expenditures were $16,683.19, with a year-to-date total of $237,639.28. $795.85. A net result for the year of $321,415.43, and an unobligated fund balance of $999,254.57. The next, Child Nutrition, Fund 5. The beginning balance for the month of May for revenues, $523,012.10. Deposits for the month of May were $35,631.69, and a year-to-date revenue of $558,643.79. Expenditures at the beginning of the month of May were $669,176.41. And expenditures for the month of May were $49,753.74. With a year-to-date expenditure balance of $718,930.15. With a net result for the year of a negative $160,286.36, and an unobligated fund balance of $169,253.43. Lastly, Fund 8, which is our local expense, special expenses. We had a beginning balance in revenues of $616,975.50. A month-to-date deposits of $35,244.34, with a year-to-date revenue of $652,219.84. Expenditures at the beginning of the month were $944,248.64, with expenditures for the month of May being $276,864.43, with a year-to-date expenditure total of $1,221,113.07, with a net result for the year of a negative $568,893.23, and an unobligated fund balance of $112,096.25.
Any questions,
Yes,
Ms. Robinson?
Mr. Edwards,
Yes.
have we received all of our reimbursements for Fund 5?
The reimbursements for Fund 5, I don't have that information as we speak right now, but I can get that for you and have it for you on Monday. Is that?
Any other question? Okay, Mr. Evans.
And also, one last thing. We have, budget resolutions, that I present to you for approval for state amendments number 15 through 17, federal amendments number 4, and local amendment number 3, to be presented to you for your approval at this time as well.
Okay, so we'll vote on the amendments first. Is there a motion? I have a question, Barry Robinson.
Yes, Mr. Edwards, I see that you decreased I'm on Amendment 4. You decreased the budget by $100,000 for the EC supplies and materials.
Let me get that.
Which amendment did you say?
4, the one on top.
Is it the federal or,
It's federal.
okay? And I'm sorry, your question again?
You said there was a decrease of $100,000 for EC supplies and materials.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why that much, why it's such a large sum? Do we have a decrease? Did we get all of what the students needed this school year?
The decrease for supplies and materials was basically we were moving funds around. I'm sorry, these are federal amendments. So these are things that happen from the federal, either taking funds away or something similar to that. I don't have the reason for that number right at this moment, but I can get that for you as well.
So you don't know whether we had to send this $100,000 back or not?
No, it was not something that we sent back. It was just a decrease in the funding that we had from the federal government. To my knowledge, but I can get you that information, and have it for you on Monday. Dr. Carpenter will get it to you on Monday.
There are two other things that was decreased as well: technology support and maintenance supplies and materials. Do you know why these numbers?
Again, at this particular time, I'm not sure on the correct answer. I don't want to tell you something incorrect. All I know is that the federal government had these amendments that put together in their LBAS system. And this is what they allowed us to show.
So this is balancing the budget.
I believe
The
so.
LBAS.
Yes,
Question, Chairman Williams, in Amendment 3, were you finished with your? I'm sorry. Okay. In Amendment 3 for local, is that the reimbursement we received that from WIOA for 22-23? That's what I'm reading for the explanation. So that will balance us back, that they owed us, correct?
this is in, you're looking at local amendment 3, correct?
Correct.
The increase is basically a increase to the funding that we had for this year. It was not to balance it. It does balance it, but it also allows us to provide additional programs continuing.
Because we had paid some funds.
Yes,
And they owed us some funds.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is the
that's
reimbursement.
that reimbursed and balance.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Please. I'm on amendment 16 state. And it says, I'm looking at the decrease. HR services director, director of student services, all of those are decreased.
Yes.
Can you tell me why it was a decrease in?
These were items that were moved around to allow for the state to have reimbursements on their side because they were in the negative, so they had to be taken from the local budget to allow that to happen. But it has to show a decrease on the state side so we can reimburse them.
So it's two different ones for HR service director. Is that because it's? Let's see, so it's a different number.
I only see one for HR service director.
It's two, it's one at the very top,
Different code.
then it's two different codes.
One is 55,000, and it's 4,800.
But it's two different codes.
Okay, so can I get a motion on the amendments? Motion for the amendment.
Make a motion. To approve the amendments. As presented.
Second.
There's been motion by Ms. Hill and second by Ms. Harrison that the amendments be approved as presented. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Robert Sykes?
He dropped off,
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. So. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, next was the budget resolution.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the interim budget resolution for 23-24. Second.
It's been motioned by Ms. Robinson and second by Ms. Hale. That the resolution for the budget be approved. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Mr. Evans.
Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
yes, sir. Next, the DPI level.
It's just for information on.
Information. Oh,
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
okay, so next item is restart salary schedule, information on.
It's for our information, but we need to implement it.
Go ahead, it was, they had.
It was, but it's not anymore. And so I guess we can discuss this when we have our budget meeting. That this salary scale needs to be implemented. At our restart school, our restart school.
So we're gonna table that action.
Yes, but this is just for information.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
federal programs, Dr. Robinson.
Good afternoon, board chair, vice board chair, board members. Interim Superintendent Dr. Thompson. And the community, Dr. Robinson is here to give you the board report for federal programs before I start. I'd like to ask you if you have any questions about the board report thus far.
Congratulations on your summer school grant. We appreciate it. Thank you. I know it's a lot of hard work.
And, to that point, it's still a lot of hard work. We were able to receive the CPLC, but we're in the revision stages and that process has been. It's been lengthy, but, we have a couple more pieces to submit when we can move forward with it. It's under the understanding that we spend our money, we have resources to spend the money, and they reimburse us back the money. So we try to make sure we are doing that with fidelity. So that is one thing I'm working on right now. Any questions about?
I had a question about the total amount of that grant. I don't think we were given that.
It is 200,000.
Okay. We just, as a board, I think we, know that we don't want to send a dime back.
I'm gonna tell you something I understand. I'm gonna tell you something I understand. I didn't understand before, but I understand, what the former, director of federal programs went through. It looks like it's easy to spend until you start spending it. And, we already had to do several revisions for field trips only. And they bounced back one of our field trips, so we're gonna have to go back and beg that they allow us to do the field trip. Because it's to USC and it's necessary for the students, but they bounced it back because they didn't want to pay a certain amount of money for the meals.
Okay.
And so instead of saying revise it, they said we just gonna not deny it, but I'm gonna go back to Ashton and ask them, can we still submit it? The goal is not to use a lot of the ESSER III money because we still need to, although we need to spend it by 2024, we still need to have it in-house just in case things happen. Like positions still have to be paid out of 181, and there are other things that we still have to cover out of 180. Right, that I think Mr. Dutrell is gonna speak to later. So while they're figuring that out, I'm in the process right at this moment of reviewing and going back over and through it, and I want to thank all the people that that we work together on the Girls Walking Funds grant. It's also a long process, and so I'm in the process of submitting it tonight. So just reviewing it. Because I've been working with CCLC and BWF at the same time, so I'm in the process of submitting it tonight, because it's actually due tomorrow. There, we have other additional grants that the team is working on. Okay, just let me go all the way down to the lab. keep going. Keep going. There are other different grants that the team is working on as far as, right. We got grant number 2 that's coming out of the pipe, the Green Our Planet grant, thankfully, Ms. Billow is already, she already jumped ahead on that, she's also instrumental foundation on the end, BWF grant, she read a grant writer. Grant number 3, Grant Our Planet grant, again, Ms. Billow, under the guidance and help of, Ms. Davis, Ms. Robin Davis, she's been able to get things together for that grant as well, and grant number 4, which is the Go Outside grant, I'm gonna be working with, Mr. Lewis. He is our new PE teacher at the middle school, and he's interested in moving forward with that, so he's gonna learn a little bit of grant writing, this summer as well. Right now, we try to spend down the ESSER 2. I think we got it, I talked to Ms. Hood today, I think we got it at 200,000, so even what you have before you is lesser than it was today, so we're trying to figure out how to spend that money down by replacing some of the funds that we spend in other areas. So that we will not have to revert those funds back. That's embarrassing. We spend a lot of money in ESSER on things, and for tool things, but ESSER 3 been concentrated on people and other stuff that students need. So we try to make sure that we're in compliance with doing that. I also have a new ESSER 2 consultant right now. I had Ally when I first came, and Dr. Carpenter had Ally, but we have a new one now, so it's a lot of changes going on in that same part. So as things are changing, it's kind of hitting us, and things are kind of slowing down. Title I Consolidated is open right now, and I'm meeting with Shauna next week to talk about how we're gonna figure those funds, and just to give you a heads up, you probably already noticed, our Title I funds have decreased. And so when that happens, we gotta look at things differently, how we gonna spend our money. So the Title I funds have decreased this year because of our decrease in. I think that's it. You guys have any additional questions for me?
Very Ross.
So I know usually, well, every year there's a meeting that's held with, like our private schools, and it's typically the Title I director and EC director. Has that happened?
I had my Title I meeting, I think she had her meeting as well. I had my Title I meeting back in April. We have to do that to close out grant, it was, at, Outback Academy, yeah, his name Mike. But I already had my meeting with him, he came over, we met, and got, and got some conference room. And, he looked at his Title II funds and he said he was gonna make a plan for his side, and he can't use them this year. And we can't really tell him how much money we have, but he said he's gonna make a plan for next year. So we still had those funds sitting in a consolidated piece.
So it wasn't held together, like it normally is now.
No, I didn't know together. I wasn't even aware that we pulled it together. I just held it because I knew the time I met with him twice. I had to meet him for the CCLC, the inception of CCLC, and I had to meet him for Title I.
Any other question? Thank you, Dr. Robinson.
Thank you.
Thank, we have curriculum instruction, that'll be Ms. Robin Davis.
Good evening. Good
evening.
Chair, Vice Chair, board members, and interim superintendent, Dr. Carpenter. I stand before you today for approval of the local CTE plan. But before I go into that, I want to hit some CTE highlights. So we've been doing a good job in CTE. So. And you all have the PowerPoint in front of you, but we met all of our state determined benchmark goals. So with that being said, the local CTE plan, which was a 2-year plan, it didn't change. So even though I included the information in the PowerPoint, is exactly the same information from last year because we did meet all of our goals. But as far as the highlights, we had 100% concentrator survey completion. So those little charts that you see on the slide, it was actually shared at our Northeast Regional meeting. We were one of the districts that did have 100%. We also we were in the top 10 in the state for the highest credential attainment rate. So that was one of my goals when I started out. So as you can see, we only have 2 schools and we're one. We did receive a third. All right, we received a $35,000 CTE modernization grant, which we purchased the Paxton Patterson Lab, which is a hands-on lab for students. So it should be like flight and drone and just different things like that to give the kids more experience with that. Ms. Silver Motley received a $500 Chick-fil-A grant, and with that, she did a caregiver's impact project with the students for students that pretty much had lost loved ones and they still persevere. Ms. Bello received a $1,000 grant from Farm Bureau to help her with the greenhouse in her garden. She received $250 from Back 66. So she's in the process now of trying to do animal breeding. So she wants pet pigs and just different things like that. So you'll see how that goes. And Ms. Bello is also getting recognized next week. She's one of the Governor's Educator Discovery Award winners. I think it was 2 in the state, and she was one of those. So that's really good for her because we've only had the ag program for a year.
That's good.
We have 2 honeybee cultures. If you have not been outside by the greenhouse, so the bees are in the process of making honey, so we should have some local honey by September. We have a partnership with Utah for the community garden that's located on the preschool grounds. So she's been taking the kids there to do seeding and things like that. Our college and career fair was a success. That was the first one that we had that was K through 12. So we look forward to doing that in the future. We had over 75% of our seniors to graduate as CTE completers, and that was both schools combined. And we had 5 middle school students and 2 RVIC students that placed on the state level for FBLA. All right, so for the plan, you all have viewed the plan, and like I said, nothing changed with the plan. And it was a 2-year plan, so I ask for your approval for the plan if you don't have any questions.
Are there any questions? Then can I get a motion to accept the CTE plan?
I made a motion to accept the CTE level application.
Second.
All right, thank you.
I'm finished.
It's been motion by Ms. Hale and second by Ms. Harrison that we accept the CTE plan. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Man, you can go.
Outstanding job. Outstanding.
Mr. Williams, please record my vote aye. I was disconnected a little while ago. I just got back on about 10 minutes ago.
Okay, I thought you were gone. Okay, well, we'll put you in, Reverend Sykes.
Thank you, sir.
Next, we have Student Support Service and Operation, Mr. Futrell.
Good evening, Board Chair Williams, Vice Chair Hale, board members, and Superintendent Dr. Carpenter. Present to you our presentation for this evening from Student Services and Operations. I'll begin with our pre-K and exceptional children's update. Ms. Fields is not able to be here this evening, however, I will do my best to represent the comments from EC and pre-K. Just to remind you all, we did have a successful preschool registration screening on May 24th from 9 to 2. As of right now, we have 19 children who are registered to date. Initially, we did share that we had 21 registered, but please note that of those 21 that, made initial registration, one is underage and one is overage. And so we have 19 who are actually registered. 16 of those 19 have already been screened for speech, vision, hearing, as well as completed the Brigance academic screener. And we have 3 incomplete applications that we are working through get completed. Also, within our exceptional children's department, we did have 1 student graduated with the certificate in the self-contained program, 2 students who are occupational, and those students did also receive a paycheck for their work over the course of the semester. We did try to get them here to be recognized for that. However, they declined, but we are very proud of their work that they've done. And then we also have 3 students who graduated Future Ready. We did get our IDEA grant for this year submitted. And we also have had 10 folders requested for the financial audit that was submitted also on June 1st. Any questions about EC pre-K? And also you have the most updated numbers. We have 97 active students, 1 awaiting eligibility, and a total of 98. That's 1 that moved from eligible to now active based on that data from previous.
Yes.
I have a question about pre-K funding, and if you can, through Dr. Carpenter, if you can get to us, the pre-K funding and the sources and the amounts and how we're being refunded, because you know, we're putting the money up front and we're reimbursed through CARE. And I just need to know where we stand with that.
Okay.
Because we haven't heard about the money, and I just want to make sure that we are using that with fidelity.
Will do. And that's a fun date, I believe. We'll check.
I think so. Thank you.
Okay.
Questions?
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Futrell, looking at the finance audit for the 10 folders, do we pick those folders or did we pick those folders? Or does DPI send a list of students?
Good question. We'll handle the technical parts on that. Do you know if there's a list of names for the IT? You know. Yeah. She didn't share it.
Can you please update us on that? Can you send it?
Yeah, I'll share the process through Dr. Cochran, whether those were asked for specifically or I'm just not sure.
Okay, and for the grant submission, I know you said it was submitted May 31st.
Yes.
Have we received any information back? Because I know sometimes it will kick it back. Is that through CCIP?
Yes, that is.
Okay. So do you have access to that?
Yes. I do.
Okay, have we received anything back from it or?
I know it once it goes through the chain of like being chief administrator approved, then it goes through the next level. I'm not aware of anything coming back yet. But they usually typically might be some revisions that they will send back and ask for them to be revised. That's the typical process of that grant.
Do we have any pending testing that will have to be done this summer?
Based on this data, we have 1 awaiting eligibility.
But is that for placement or is that for the testing piece? We're not sure.
Not certain, but there might be testing based on if a referral has been made, then the testing will be a part of that student placement.
So that's gonna happen within the 90-day timeline.
Well, that's certainly required that it happens within 90 days.
Yeah, it is required, but are we on target to get that done?
I will make sure that that is on something that we're on target to get done to be in the statute.
And also, my last question is, I know that we have, well, at least we have, I guess let me ask this first.
Okay.
Do we have any students who have to have compensatory time this summer?
That would be something I would have to check for, if they certainly do or do not. I know that was a goal that we had this year. was to not enter into the number of compensatory services that were required last summer. Because of lack of related service providers and agreements. So we have had those providers in place since you all approved the contract back in September. So I'll be for certain and give that information to Dr. Carpenter. But the goal was, starting this year, not to have those hundreds of hours of compensatory as we did last summer.
Because of course, that's something we may want to align with our summer program, so that students can get it.
Right.
Won't be any additional burden on our parents in getting them here for those services.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll make sure the letters get out. They have, send those letters to offer that, which is required as well.
Well, that starts next week, right? So we need to make phone calls.
Yeah, that's why I said,
Letters
if we haven't done, that might mean we don't have it.
Right.
Okay, any other questions? Student services, last month, I reported you that we had completed our SEL survey, and our schools did a fantastic job on administering that survey with all of our students, which means now we have some really good data to form programs around for all of our students across the district. And I'm sharing just a timeline of how we plan to use that data and make it actionable so that we can make some informed decisions about it. So now that we've administered the surveys, Panorama has kind of gathered all that data for us in the platform. Be able to release that data to school principals, administrators on next week through some school team meetings and making sure that they are aware of what their students' SEL data is actually saying. Also, we'll be sharing this data with our MTSS district team. Our MTSS district team did meet this week with our regional NCDPI coordinator, just to discuss where we are with our MTSS implementation as a district. And that discussion was led through using what we call our facilitate assessment of multi-tiered systems and support district tool, which is a assessment for us to help evaluate as a school team where we are with implementation. We did complete that, and we'll be having some results so that we can inform our next steps with MTSS as a school framework. And I hope to now, after sharing it with our school teams and district teams, bring it to you all in July, so you all have as a board, and share it with the community on where our students are as it relates to their social and emotional wellness and well-being, to help inform what type of programming and what that looks like. As you know, just like reading, math, science, and social studies, there is curriculum that can be taught to address the 5 competencies of social and emotional learning. And I'll be bringing that to you that we have data to help make some informed decisions about what's going to be best for that type of curriculum. And then that will help lead us into some planning for 23-24 new year with SEL.
Mr. Chairman,
But
I just want to reinforce, I think, we said this before to you, that, we want to make sure that our students and our staff, especially teachers, are served with SEL. Such as some of our other counterparts, Nash, EdgeCom, and we would like some of those funds to hopefully be used within the Halifax, Northampton County area with our local companies that are here.
Yes.
We want to be homegrown with that. We want anybody coming from Appalachian or anywhere to serve us. We want to be homegrown with that. We have plenty of partners and providers in our area. And one last thing, I think, Dr. Robinson just mentioned, the ESSER money that we need to spend. Maybe some of that can be used to go in. I know you've received some proposals from some of the companies here in the area. So maybe some of those funds can go in and be used to go on a contract with those companies.
Yes, and I'm in conversation with those entities, specifically Hope Assessment. I've been in conversation with Ms. Sheila Hope about offering some services for our students, as well as opportunities for staff. My next step with that, he sent a MOU for our approval. However, I did want to get this in front of some school staff for them to hear about what is being offered. Maybe craft that MOU, just maybe tailor it based on school feedback, and then get that to Dr. Carpenter and attorney for review, and then bring it to you all. That is the next step.
Another question. So the school teams for the SEL, it's just the administrators and counselors on the team?
Initially starting out this summer, mainly just because that's what I have ready access to. But we do know that, of course, everybody has to participate in SEL, and so there'll be additional opportunities for school staff to certainly have input. Also through our PD series over the course of this school year, our 130 release PD, we've been given every opportunity each time to have SEL professional development with our staff. And we got really good ratings back and feedback from our staff about their use of time together. Any other questions? School safety, as I spoke to you all on last month, we spoke about our weapons screeners that we are proposing, that we have at our school facilities next year. We were looking at different funding sources, one being ESSER. We just have not heard anything back yet. There's been some transition there, and so I'm sure there might be some delay for our region on that, but just to remind you, this is what we're looking at. However, I did bring a quote before you tonight to begin looking at what we can go ahead and offer with some funds that we do have. As you know, did approve the purchase of security cameras and equipment out of our school safety grant on last month. Actually, it came in lower, that quote budget came in much lower than anticipated, which left some additional funds in that pot of money. With that, I'm proposing then that since this has already been part of our discussion, recognizing that we will need some of this equipment, that we go ahead with the purchase of at least two with the funds that we have remaining in that pot of money to go ahead and get that with our looking at the open gate, purchasing two of those, just because of the amount of money that we would have budgeted to go ahead and start making some purchases on that. When we hear back from ESSER, that'll help fill in the rest of the remaining gaps that we definitely be something. So I'm going to go ahead and take this.
At this time, entertain a motion.
I make a motion to go ahead on and purchase two open gate metal detectors.
Second.
It's been motioned by Ms. Hill and second by Ms. Harrison that we purchase two open gate security devices. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye. Robin side,
Aye.
okay, motion carried.
Thank you all so much. And then, lastly, facilities update. Work continues at, high school gym. I think I updated you all on last, time, it's much further along, but we are looking at closing this out by the end of this month and having our wrap up meeting for all work being completed. Also, as Ms. Dr. Robertson spoke to you earlier about the CCLC grant, one component is that they require our facilities to actually be everything 100% up to date. And there are a few things that we need to get up to date in that, and so our crew's been working diligently to get that up to date in place for approval from the grant approval for the CCLC. We had to submit many documents such as fire reports. There's a lot of documents that were submitted, and they did have some requests for additional information that we got to update. Lastly, we do have some termite infestation at our central office that is now kind of coming to surface, beginning to swarm. And we did have someone come out and remediate that this week. Put a new vapor barrier down in our crawl space area of the central office, as well as name, draws a blank right now, but they did come around the perimeter and insert, they around the perimeter to help remedy, and we hope that that will, keep that from happening. It's my understanding that this is not the first time this has happened, but it's come back and, and that's the remedy for it, and we did, get that taken care of. That's about all, from my facilities update. Now, any questions about that before I move on? We'll now have Mr. Miller, update you all on, COVID numbers. Thank you all.
Yeah, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Good evening, board members, board chair and vice chair, interim superintendent, and on to COVID-19 testing updates. We have a district-wide total of 390 participants. We have no extras at central services. We have one additional student at the early college, 16 additional students at the elementary school, 2 additional students at the high school, and 4 additional students at the middle school. With our positive cases as of today, there have been none, and that last case was February 6th. And positive cases with staff members, we just had those 2, but there have been no extra cases, and the last case was April 24th. Any questions?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
it's for Mr. Futrell. He's supposed to get back with us on some information about the program going into the COVID, our students being able to be tested during the summer.
Yes.
And staff, they wanted to, do you have any information on that?
Yeah, so the current contract that state has in place is gonna extend through July. And we are now in, conversation with Mako for an independent contract between Wilder City Schools and Mako. And we're just waiting to hear back from them. And Mr. Miller's been a part of that conversation too. Have you heard anything else, Mr. Miller, about that?
No, sir. She just said that she would kick it up to leadership and get back to us on it. But she is aware that we want to continue COVID testing throughout the next year. So things have been put in motion for that. We're just awaiting a response, as you stated.
And where do we propose we're gonna get the funding from for that? Because I know that some part of ESSER is until September, because that's what I was originally asking about last month, but do we have an idea?
So I've spoken to Dr. Robertson about that and using, ESSER 181, which will go through September 30th of 2024
Okay,
for that.
so we should know something about that.
As soon as I hear back from Mako, I'll really push and ask them, hey, and you'll.
Okay.
Okay. That's another thing, with that also will probably come the need for that support that we've had in place for testing. So we'll have the contract, but in addition, we may also want to consider the personnel that we've had in place to help with that test.
To continue with it.
Yes,
So we presently have 2.
2.
Okay.
Well, 3.
Okay.
Okay. But it's all the part-time.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. Okay, at this time, do you wish to take a break or you want to move on to public forum? Want to break here? Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. And then we'll come out with public forum. We're back in session now. Dr. Carpenter, do we have anyone for public forum?
Yeah. Mr. Noah Davis and Ms. Regina Brooks.
Okay, to Mr. Davis and Ms. Brooks, you will have 3 minutes from the time you start. And we thank you for coming. And we'll start when you're ready, Mr. Davis.
Thank you. Good evening, board. Superintendent. I heard Ms. Hill at the very beginning read the mission and so based on the mission and the vision, Weldon City School Board, you have failed this district. Enrollment, academic performance, and graduation rates are low. This is directly related to the lack of consistent leadership in our district. By consistent leadership, I mean superintendent. Weldon City Schools has had five full-time superintendents in the last 5 years. This is not acceptable for any CEO position. The vision says we will serve as a model district for the state of North Carolina based upon success generated through students, academic and behavioral performance. You cannot maintain acceptable behavior and performance if you do not have consistency in leadership. You have lost faith of your students, administration, and community. Like many others, I'm almost ashamed to say that I am a product of Weldon City Schools. Who will be held accountable for this? The superintendents have been accountable to the board. Has the board been accountable to our students, teachers, administration, and community? You have a duty to this school district to attract and retain high-performing talent to move us forward. Now, it is rumored, well, no longer rumored because I heard it tonight, that we're having financial issues. But we are not providing a school district that will attract and retain high-performing students in the district. So if you want to fix the budget, issues, increase student enrollment to increase funds allocated to the district. Like many other parents in the district, my wife Doreen and I, we made a decision to send our 3 children to Kip Gaston during their middle school years. But we also made a conscious decision to bring them back to Weldon City Schools because of our pride and our love for Weldon. And also they wanted to graduate as Chargers. I am ecstatic that a new middle school and high school building will be constructed, but as long as, because it's long overdue. However, I am very disappointed that we have multiple buses coming into our community daily and taking our students to another district. A building is not going to fix our issues, but consistent and competent leadership in our administration and our board will. Showing support and unity, at least at our high school graduation, will be a great start. Research has shown that a positive working relationship between the board and superintendent can directly impact student achievement in the district. It is easy to surmise that if there is continual acrimony and disruption between the board and the superintendent, very little will be accomplished in the district, and the students will be negatively impacted by the lack of harmony and cohesiveness. Board, I charge you to take the necessary actions to ensure a good working relationship will exist. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Mrs. Brooks. Ready when you are, Mrs. Brooks.
Good evening to all. I'm Regina Bryant Brooks, stand before you tonight, having prayed earnestly and extensively for the children of Weldon City Schools District first, then all employees, parents, and the community at large. June the 30th, 2023 will be the 25th death anniversary of my husband, the late Dr. Ernest Andrew Brooks II. My son, Ernest Andrew Brooks III, is awaiting becoming a father as we speak. And Ernest Andrew Brooks IV will be here on his birthday, maybe before Father's Day. I've been speaking before this school board since 1998 on behalf of the children. You know my credentials, I've shared them with you many of times. Yet, you've shown me many times that my professional services are not needed here. A 6-year degree, all the accolades you could name, but yet and still, there is no space for Regina Bryant Brooks in Weldon City Schools. I'm sharing materials with you from the Weldon Library. You have summer school here. Miss Deborah always has an excellent summer program, but you'll have summer school free. So, you know, it's so wonderful to know that the children have so many resources in Weldon that I know they are all going to be A+ students. And I'm not speaking about Ms. Deborah, I'm speaking about what I know because I've been a volunteer at the library and I've also been in the Weldon City Schools District, and I know she is ready. So I encourage you to encourage the children who are not in summer school to attend the library and get some wonderful, wonderful information. I encourage each of you to keep your oath before you and remember, as the grandmas of old would say, who's watching the children, our precious gifts. It's all about the children. I'm so thankful Mr. Davis said so many things that I've said for the past years and years and years. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. At this time, we'll move to consent agenda. And before we have any action there, we'll go the MOU for CCP and Early College. Ms. Robinson, I'm going to see if you had some questions about it.
Yes, in our. Ready?
Go ahead.
In our MOU, it stated that Halifax Community College will provide security. I have a great concern for this recent year about security at the community college, and hopefully they will be able to get someone in place that will have the experience and the know-how of keeping our students as well as all students at the community college safe. But right now, I don't feel that that is happening. There's too many new faces coming in every day, and they don't know our children, they don't have a rapport with children, and they work a beat. So they have that mentality of on the street and not dealing with college students. So that's my first concern. My other concern was the GPA. I thought it had been changed to 2.8. If it's now 3.0, that's something that our parents need to know, and it needs to be spread throughout so that we'll be a part of what's going on, because we were not aware of that. 2 reps serving on an interview committee. That has not happened before, but I think it's a great idea to include 2 representatives on our interview committee for incoming students. And also, we're the oldest early college in this county, in the bi-county, 3-county, tri-county area, dating back to starting with 8th grade. First early college under the superintendent of Eli Brace Jr. We were promised then under Dr. Brace, because I was a parent in that first class. We were promised then that we would have that entire building, the entire hallway of the 600 building. That has not happened in all of these years. We still don't have that last room, and we have grown. And we need that print shop that is now still belonging to HCC. we need that space to make sure that our children are getting what they need. They need to be, when they are not in those college courses, they need to be in study groups in one location where our staff can make sure that they are on par, they are on doing what they need to do. They are studying together and they are making good grades and graduating from Halifax Community College. That's a need and that's a desire. That was a part of the overall discussion when these early colleges came about, that you will have a 2-year degree when you left high school. And we are not meeting that goal with Roanoke Valley Early College. I need to see something different happen there, and we need the support of HCC to provide us the space that we need that will help us accomplish that goal. And I think that's about it that I have regarding the MOU and Halifax Community College. We love our relationship working with Halifax Community College. But there are some improvements that can be made with Weldon City Schools.
If the board doesn't object, Dr. Elliott here, who is president of Halifax Community College, if you'll come and comment, Dr. Elliott.
Good evening, Chairman Williams, Vice Chair Hill, board members, interim superintendent, Dr. Carpenter. Thank you so much for allowing me to stand for a moment. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know that it was on the agenda. I actually came to support the Wrap Lunch Initiative because Miss Alice said come, and I said, yes, ma'am. But it's divine order that I had the opportunity to be with you this evening because I'm happy to address those concerns. As it relates to the concerns that Ms. Robinson has mentioned, I share those concerns and we're working aggressively to address them. I apologize that you didn't have the update. We need to strengthen that line of communication then. I'm noticing that tonight and we will definitely do so because it shouldn't have to be a situation where you express those concerns here without having an opportunity to say that here were my concerns and I have already received an update from the college. So we need to rectify that. As it relates to security, we are currently working aggressively to put a model in place. Prior to my arrival, the Halifax County Board of Trustees had approved for us to move forward in establishing our very own campus police department. And so we have done our due diligence to review other models that are very similar to our institution. And we currently are completing the application to move it to the state, whereby we are seeking approval to establish just that, where we will have the officers that will be our officers and that will provide that continuity, because we also want to ensure that relationships are built and we have the effective and efficient coverage. So we're going to keep you abreast of that. We're close to having our packet completely ready to move forward to the state. And when we do that, we're then able to post for the chief of campus police. So that is taking place. There were no other type of changes other than the one that you mentioned about the representation. That was to formalize it because it was already kind of being operationalized. The college liaison was already participating, but it wasn't in there. And then we added the CCP director to, to strengthen that relationship and everything. So everybody is at the table working together. And then the last thing relative to the space, when I first arrived, you all may be aware that I've engaged in casual conversations, and I immediately did so with the principals and superintendents, et cetera. I had an opportunity to have a great conversation with Mr. Pullen, as well as the superintendent at the time. Both individuals indicated a desire to have the entire building, and I agree with them. Not a problem at all, because we want to make sure that RVEC has everything that they need to operate effectively and efficiently. So as a matter of fact, I just provided Mr. Pullen the other day with an update that we're in the process of removing our print shop. So that's the only impediment for them having that entire building. And so I am completing the campus overview. classroom and infrastructure overview to make sure that when we move that print shop, we're moving it only one time because of the heavy lift that it takes. So I need to make sure to do due diligence to ensure that the room that we move it to can accommodate the equipment that's going in there from an HVAC and in a situation and everything. So we anticipate, and I shared with Principal Pullen, that is my commitment that that transition will take place before the end of the summer so that they'll be ready for their new academic year and knowing to that they have that space and can outfit what they need to go into that room. So the campus walkthrough is taking place next week, and I look forward to updating you after that as well. Every concern that you have is one that I've already noted and been working on, and I apologize that you didn't have that information and to know that we're working in sync with one another. But please know that we are, and again, I'll make sure that that line of communication is strengthened. Thank you. So,
Thank you,
thank
Dr.
you
Allen.
so much, and thank you so much for the support that you give to not only RVAC, but to Halifax Community College, Dumpster. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay, if there are no other questions, then can we ask for the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
There's been a motion by Ms. Robinson and second by Ms. Barrett Robinson that we approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, just a minute. Brother Sykes?
Aye.
Okay, let the record show that the motion passes. Okay, we go to student attendance policy.
While attending some graduations and conversations with some of our employees, it has come to my attention that this student attendance policy needs some work. And I think we need to put it in the forefront of us looking at it at some point and allowing our staff to get with our two, especially our two high school principals, to look at this and make sure that it is supporting our students being in school and being able to make sure we graduate the ones that deserve to graduate and not having missed a whole lot of days. You can't learn if you're at home. And we should not be graduating students who have an exorbitant number of absences. And I don't believe that this policy is looking and have paid attention to that. So there's some work to be done. So I would like to charge our staff to look at that, review it, bring it back to us with updates and changes.
We'll take care of that.
Board Superintendent Integrity.
I've heard a lot said today, especially from our public forum. And a lot of information gets in the public, and it may not be true, it may be true. But there are some hard decisions that are always made by boards that usually the open public is not aware of. So I just want to say that I do believe that the members of this board are on one accord when we're trying to give our best to our students. And when we see things are not going in a correct direction, it's our job and our duty to make sure it's corrected, whether the masses like it or not. Sometimes there are some hard decisions that have to be made. But as a board member, we must keep our integrity to make sure that they're not being done correctly. We make sure that they are. And that means hiring and making sure we hire the right person to do that job, to give our students what they need and what they deserve.
Okay.
Also,
Ms. Barrett Robinson.
Also, just to kind of add to what Ms. Robinson has said, everyone in our school district, we all have very important jobs, and that is to make sure that our staff is supported, our students are supported, and our parents are supported. We need to make sure that if parents are calling or emailing us, then to make sure that we follow up, whether it's principal, teacher, anyone, we need to make sure that the lines of communication is always open. And to make sure that our families are feeling supported. The same thing as board members, we have to be able to, work together and make sure that we are doing what's in the best interest of our staff. Because as I said, it is all of our job to make sure that our students and our staff and our community is supported as well.
The board member having comments that haven't spoken. Okay, 2023-24 board conferences.
Just for information on it.
And there was information on that, I think it was
Yes.
cheap, including packages
Yes,
about the conferences, but there's only been one that has a date. Right now, everything else is pending.
And it wasn't one that's not up here, the NSBA, and that's already a date on that. And that's April 6th through 8th, NSBA, in addition to the Cosmos. I'm not sure who planning to attend the NSBA or Cosmos, but I do know that the date is out for NSBA.
yeah, that would be in New Orleans, April 4th through 7th. That needs to go up there. For the 6th day,
It's in April,
it's in April.
and the date is already out there.
I would like to add to, I saw today, they come from the UNC School of Government, and they are free. One is August 2nd, a strategic planning that I think we could really, utilize, staff and board. It's online, for August 2nd from 10 to 11:15, and as well as on September 6th, they'll be doing public school funding online as well from 10 to 11:15. I've already registered for both of those. They are absolutely free. They're webinars, and everything that I've attended with UNC School of Government has been on point and very beneficial. So we can add those and make sure our board members can, I'll forward it to you. Okay, I'll forward it to the entire board.
Then that we can register.
Doing it now.
Okay, next we have district retreat.
And Mr. Williams,
Sir,
Sykes here. Also, there is a conference that I think will be very beneficial to the board as well. I couldn't really hear Ms. Kay Robinson. I don't know if she mentioned this or not, but on August the 11th, the School of Government is providing a class as well at Western Carolina University in Asheville. It will be that morning, I think, from 9 until 4, dealing with elected officials and their responsibilities and the roles in which they serve local government, school boards. I think city council persons addressing those roles as well. I think it is a registration fee, maybe of like $200 per attendee, but I think that's certainly something that will be beneficial for our board as well if we have individuals that may be able to attend that. I do have some information on it. I think all the board members should have received that. I'm not sure at this point, though.
okay, thank you, Reverend Sykes. Okay, next we have district retreat and conferences. Okay, then we just say that, okay.
I mean, I just need the paper.
What conferences? Okay, that's just.
This is for district.
The one packet you also have.
Testing
By
and
department.
accountability.
Yeah, by departments, the list of conferences that are held either yearly or monthly for each department. For those individuals to attend. So we broke it down by department.
Oh, this is awesome.
That's great.
To have it broken
Yeah.
down like this.
Any other questions? Okay, next we have, custodians.
Did we discuss the district retreat?
And then the other one is a breakdown of a draft at this time of what we're looking,
And that's in our packet too.
it may be in your closed back. It's in the closed.
It's in the closed, it's closed.
Yeah. That's an idea of what we're planning at this time.
Any other comment, question? Any other comments or question?
Yes, what was the price tag? I see it on the end, okay.
It's actually $20,000.
Not 21.
No. I wasn't able to make the change.
If you included more.
Yes, the board is invited, included, yes.
Any other question or concern? Okay, we'll go to custodian.
So is this something you want us to approve, or is this something that we're gonna have to have conversations? Because I know we have talked about money. So,
Right, I was just asked, put it on the agenda, but yes, if it needs to be discussed, yes.
is that something we need to discuss in closed?
I'm not aware of the purpose of the item, or is it for approval? Is the board being asked to approve?
I
Or
thought
is
it
it
was just for
information
discussion.
as you consider your budget for next year?
It's this year.
It's after July 1.
It's after, so it'll be,
It's after July
it'll be in the new budget.
Yes.
Are you paying for it, Connie?
Esther,
Esther,
yes, already been on.
Esther one, so which one?
Esther two, is it Esther two? Yeah, Esther two. What is it?
After July 1.
Uh-huh.
It's this too.
Esther two,
You already did a lot of it.
it's already been. On.
So I think what the board does next depends on what you're being asked to do. I don't know, it's being presented for your information only. For your consideration as you develop your budget for next year. I'm not aware of the purpose of the items.
It didn't have action, so.
Right, I think this is probably something we need to look at and discuss. We do have a session coming up where we're gonna look at our budget.
22nd.
Huh,
The 22nd.
That's what I was under the impression, so I think this needs to be tabled until we can. Because it wasn't, as you said, Mr. Wiggins, is not up for action.
Yeah.
So it's certainly something that we'll need to discuss. But thank you for sharing this draft with us.
Question. Are we,
You had a question back there?
I know, the question about what she just said, I mean, we just talking, we talked about this earlier in closed session. June 20, I want to be clear on June 22nd. So are we gonna meet for the budget on June 22nd? That's what I thought.
Yeah,
So that you, I mean, that's something that we can discuss. Yeah, she had it too.
I guess, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I
some of
still
the
had
things
it
on this camera being.
Right.
Right,
And I don't know, yeah, I haven't checked. Yeah, I can't. So I guess if you hold the date, you hold the date and check with this camera and then do that.
okay.
Lord, don't smell. Yeah.
Okay, so, with mine, custodian?
Custodians,
Okay, currently, right now, I think we only have, well, I know we only have one full-time custodian at the elementary school and one currently working part-time custodian. And there is help needed down there. I know up until just last year, or this current school year, there has always been two full-time custodians. And up until this year, and the help is needed down there, so I would just like to have a full-time custodian added back onto the elementary global academy for advertising. Because,
question.
What, after you finish.
right now, like I said, there are two part-time on payroll. But because of, personal issues, there's only one part-time and one full-time.
It's a full-time, the paid custodian. Okay. I didn't know if you were talking about in addition to.
And so that's why I just want to bring it to the board, so that we can open that, part-time back up to a full-time position, because their help is needed down there.
So where are we with the numbers for the other schools?
Okay, the other school got four-timers. The high school got 3 4-timers and the middle school have 2 4-timers and a part-time. but like Ms. Hale said, the elementary always had 2 full-timers. And we need to have another full-timer there.
And especially the fact that we are also getting prepared for transition for the fifth grade to go back to the elementary school.
Yeah.
So help is definitely needed down there.
So at those 2 schools, are they fully staffed, middle and high schools?
They're not.
Custodian.
I know.
It's
So-
custodian,
Yeah.
yes, they are, it's
So
custodian.
you have, how many, Mr.?
I have to.
3 full-time, do you have any part-time?
No, because it
Ms.
has
Tyler.
full-time.
How many do you have?
2 full-time.
And 1 part-time? Okay.
We never get our request for a female at the elementary.
That's what, that's.
That's the-
We didn't get it,
that's
but
the
that's,
other
that's,
four
that's.
Oh, that's the part.
Yeah.
The part that we need.
That was the part, yeah.
We need to say that. We need to say that.
Yeah.
So, and I just wanted to bring that before the board so we can have that advertised again, or open back up, or either see if the person that we offer the part-time to is open to the full-time position. However,
Right.
Do we have a motion on the floor?
I make a motion to, do we have to make a motion? We don't have to go, do we?
I mean, just, again, it depends on what you're doing. Is this a position that exists? Are you creating a new position?
It did exist.
It did exist.
But it doesn't.
It doesn't-
Currently, no.
It cut down to part-time, but we need to bring it back to full-time.
Because we couldn't find any full-time people at that time, is what we're saying.
So the proposal on the table is to create a full-time custodian position at the elementary school?
Yes.
Yes.
So that can be the motion.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to create a full-time position at the elementary school.
Mr. Williams,
Yes, sir.
before that motion is made, if that motion is going to be made for a new custodian, given what we are looking at with our 2022-2023 school year budget, can the motion reflect that we would look at this in our 2023-2024 school year budget and not try to actually do that hiring before June 30th? Just a question.
Okay, we're saying for it to be for that school year rubber sites, not before.
That's what I was asking. Y'all were kind of fading out a little bit. I don't know if y'all were moving from your mic when you were talking, but that's why I was trying to get clarity. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
we want it for the next school, the upcoming school year.
Okay, thank you. I didn't hear that. Thank you so much.
You're asking that it be included in your 23-24 school year budget,
Correct.
funding for a full-time custodian position.
Correct.
I have a motion on the floor. Is that second?
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Hale, second by Ms. Robinson, that a full-time custodian position at Weldon Elementary Global Academy. Are there any questions? All those in favor, aye. Robert Hale? Rubber Sites?
Aye. Aye.
All right, I apologize to both of you. Motion passed.
He needs a snippet.
I make a motion to go, back into closed session.
Second.
Then motion by Ms. Hale, second by Ms. Robinson. That we go back into closed session. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Brother Sykes?
Aye.